The sun beat down on the concrete at 6:30 a.m. as recruits lined up for their first day of basic training. Among the rows of nervous faces stood Maya Chen, 23 years old, barely 5'3", with her dark hair pulled tight into regulation braids. She looked small next to the others, her frame lean but not obviously muscular. The other recruits towered over her, their boots scraping the ground as they shifted impatiently. Some wore smirks. Others whispered behind their hands. Maya kept her eyes forward, her jaw set, her breathing steady. She had expected this. She always expected this. Before we begin, tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching from. Drill Sergeant Harris marched down the line. His voice like gravel scraped across metal. This is Fort Benning. You are nothing here. You will earn every breath, every step, every second of sleep. Some of you will quit. Some of you will fail. And some of you should never have come. His eyes passed over Maya without pause, but she felt the weight of judgment from every direction. A recruit 3 spots down, a tall guy with a thick neck named Riker, snorted loud enough for everyone to hear. Look at that one, he muttered to the guy beside him. But she doesn't make it past week 1. His friend, a stocky recruit named Torres, grinned. 5 days max. She'll cry herself home. Maya didn't turn. She didn't react. She had heard worse. Growing up in a rough neighborhood in Oakland, she'd learned early that words were just noise. It was action that mattered. Her father had taught her that before he died. He had been a Marine, a quiet man with steady hands and a back covered in ink that told the story of his service. Maya carried that story with her now, etched into her own skin where no one could see it yet. She touched the edge of her shirt unconsciously, feeling the faint lines beneath the fabric. Not yet, she thought. Not until they earn it. The first week was hell. They ran 5 miles before breakfast, did push-ups in the mud until their arms shook, crawled under barbed wire while sergeants screamed in their faces. Maya kept up. She didn't lead, didn't showboat, just match pace with the middle of the pack and stayed silent. But that didn't stop the mockery. In the mess hall, Riker sat across from her and laughed. How you even holding a tray with those tiny arms? You should be serving coffee, not serving your country. Torres added, maybe she's lost. Maybe she thinks this is summer camp. The table erupted in laughter. Maya chewed her food slowly, her face blank. She met Riker's eyes once, just once, and saw the flicker of uncertainty there. He looked away first. At night, in the barracks, the women's bay was quieter, but no kinder. A recruit named Janelle, tall and athletic with a sharp tongue, leaned against her bunk and said loud enough for everyone to hear, I don't get why they let people like her in. She's going to get someone killed when it counts. Another recruit, a blonde named Simmons, shook her head. It's a waste of slot. Someone stronger should be here. Maya lay on her bunk, staring at the ceiling. She could feel their eyes on her, waiting for her to crack, to cry, to pack her bag and leave in the night like 2 other recruits already had. But Maya didn't move. She thought of her father's voice. Strength isn't about size, Maya. It's about will. It's about showing up when everyone thinks you'll quit. She closed her eyes and let the words settle in her chest like armor. By week 3, the physical test began. Obstacle courses, timed runs, hand-to-hand combat drills. Maya passed each one, not at the top but solidly in the middle. She was fast, her small size an advantage in tight spaces. She could slip under obstacles others had to climb over. She could hold a plank longer than Riker, though he'd never admit it. But the mockery didn't stop. It grew sharper. During a rope climb drill, Riker stood at the base and shouted up at her, "You gonna make it tiny. Need a ladder." When she reached the top before him, he spat on the ground. Lucky. The turning point came on a Thursday morning at 5:15 a.m. The recruits were assembled for a surprise inspection. Commander Steele arrived, a woman in her late 40s with iron-gray hair and a reputation that preceded her like thunder. She had served 3 tours overseas, earned 2 Purple Hearts, and once led a rescue mission that saved 11 soldiers trapped behind enemy lines. She walked the line slowly, her boots clicking with precision, her eyes missing nothing. She stopped in front of Maya. The entire company held its breath. Steele looked down at her, and Maya looked back, unflinching. "Name," Steele said. Maya, Chen, ma'am. How tall are you, Chen? 5'3", ma'am. Steele's mouth twitched, not quite a smile. You know what they're saying about you? Yes, ma'am. And what do you say? I say I'm still here, ma'am. Steele nodded once, a sharp dip of her chin, and moved on. But something had shifted. The other recruits felt it, a crack in the certainty that Maya didn't belong. That crack widened the next day during hand-to-hand combat training. They were paired off randomly, and Maya's name was called with Riker's. The recruits circled up, eager for the show. Riker grinned, cracking his knuckles. This will be quick. The instructor, Sergeant Harris, blew the whistle. Riker lunged, relying on his size and strength. But Maya moved like water, slipping to the side, using his momentum against him. She swept his leg, and he stumbled. His grin faltered. He came at her again, harder this time, but Maya was faster. She ducked under his swing, locked his arm, and took him to the ground. The circle gasped. Riker's face turned red, his pride bruised worse than his body. Harris blew the whistle. Chen wins. Reset. Riker stood, breathing hard, his eyes full of something darker now. Not respect. Anger. After the drill, he cornered Maya near the barracks. You think you're tough. You think that little trick means something. Maya didn't answer. She tried to walk past, but he stepped in her way. You don't belong here, he hissed. You're gonna get people killed. Maya met his eyes, her voice low and calm. Move. Riker didn't move. He leaned closer, his breath hot. Or what? Before Maya could respond, a voice cut through the air like a blade. Recruit Riker. It was Commander Steele. Riker's face went pale. He snapped to attention. Ma'am, step away. Now. Riker obeyed, his jaw tight. Steele looked at Maya. You all right, Chen? Yes, ma'am. Steele nodded. Good. Then get to chow. Maya walked away, her heart pounding, but her face still calm. That night, whispers spread through the barracks. Did you see Steele? She came out of nowhere. She's got Chen's back. Janelle sat on her bunk, her earlier hostility replaced by something cautious. Maybe she's tougher than we thought. Simmons didn't respond, but her silence felt different now. Less mocking, more uncertain. Maya lay in her bunk, staring at the ceiling again. She didn't feel victorious. She felt tired. Tired of proving herself. Tired of being questioned. But she wasn't done. Not yet. The final test of basic training came in week 8. A 48-hour field exercise in the woods. No sleep, minimal food, constant challenges designed to break them down and see who could lead under pressure. The recruits were divided into squads. Maya's squad included Riker, Torres, Janelle, Simmons, and 3 others. They were given a map, a compass, and a mission. Navigate 10 miles through rough terrain, complete 3 objectives, and return to base by 0600 hours the next morning. Riker immediately took charge, his voice loud and commanding. We'll move fast, hit the objectives hard, no breaks. Janelle nodded. Sound good. But Maya studied the map, her finger tracing the route. She spoke quietly. That route goes through a ravine. If it rains, we'll be stuck. Riker glared at her. It's not going to rain. Maya looked up at the sky. The clouds were gray, heavy, moving fast. It might. Riker stepped closer. I'm leading this squad, not you. We're going my way. They moved out at 1300 hours, 1 p.m., following Riker's route. For the first 2 hours, it seemed fine. They hit the first objective, a supply cache they had to locate and inventory. But as they moved toward the second objective, the sky darkened. Rain began to fall, light at first, then heavier. By 16:30, for 30 p.m., they were soaked, and the ravine Maya had warned about was filling with water. Riker stared at it, his confidence cracking. We can still cross. Janelle shook her head. That's suicide. The current's too strong. Torres looked at Maya. You said we should have gone the other way. Maya nodded. There's still time to reroute. Riker's face flushed. I'm not taking orders from her. Janelle stepped forward, her voice sharp. Then you're an idiot. She's right. We reroute or we fail. Riker didn't respond. He turned away, and for a moment, Maya thought he might walk off alone. But he didn't. He just stood there defeated. Maya took the map, studied it under the rain, and found an alternate path. It's longer, she said, but it's safer. We'll make it if we move fast. Janelle nodded. Lead the way. Maya led. They moved through the rain, climbing steep hills, crossing streams swollen with runoff. Maya's legs burned. Her lungs screamed, but she didn't stop. She kept them together, kept them moving. They hit the second objective at 2200 hours, 10 p.m., exhausted but intact. The third objective came at 0200 hours, 2 a.m., a simulated rescue where they had to carry a weighted dummy half a mile. Maya took her turn, her small frame straining under the weight, but she didn't drop it. Neither did anyone else. They crossed the finish line at 5:45 a.m., 15 minutes early. Commander Steele was waiting. She looked at the squad, muddy and exhausted, and nodded. Good work. Her eyes found Maya. Chen, you led them back. Yes, ma'am. Why'd they let you? Maya hesitated. Riker spoke instead, his voice quiet. Because she was right, and I was wrong. Steele looked at him, then back at Maya. Leadership isn't about being the loudest. It's about being the smartest and the bravest when it counts. Dismissed. The squad walked back to the barracks in silence. Maya felt the shift. The way Janelle walked beside her instead of ahead. The way Torres nodded at her. Even Riker didn't glare. The mockery was gone, replaced by something fragile but real. Respect. But the story wasn't over. 2 days later, at the graduation ceremony, the recruits stood in formation, their families watching from bleachers. Commander Steele gave a speech about courage, honor, and sacrifice. Then she called one name, Recruit Chen, front and center. Maya's heart pounded. She marched forward, snapped to attention. Steele looked at her, and for the first time, something like warmth touched her stern face. I've been watching you, Chen. Not just these 8 weeks. I've been watching since day one. She paused. Your father was Gunnery Sergeant David Chen. I served with him. He saved my life in Fallujah. The crowd murmured. Maya's breath caught. Steele continued. He told me once that his daughter would be a Marine, that she'd be better than him. I didn't believe him. I thought he was just a proud father. She stepped closer, her voice dropping. But he was right. Steele's eyes flicked down. I know what's on your back, Chen. Your father had the same one. The eagle, globe, and anchor. The places he served. The brothers he lost. Maya's throat tightened. She hadn't shown anyone. She kept it hidden, waiting for the right moment. Steele's voice rose again, addressing the entire company. This recruit has carried the weight of legacy, mockery, and doubt. And she carried it with honor. She turned back to Maya. Show them. Maya hesitated. Then she turned, reached back, and lifted her shirt. The crowd went silent. There, covering her entire back, was a detailed tattoo. The Marine Corps emblem at the center, surrounded by names, dates, and places. Fallujah, Helmand, Ramadi, her father's unit, his brothers, his story, and at the bottom, in elegant script, the words her father had lived by. Strength is not the absence of fear. It is the will to move forward despite it. Commander Steele's face, always so controlled, softened. She saluted Maya, and Maya, tears streaming now, saluted back. The formation erupted in applause. Riker stood in the back, his face unreadable, but he was clapping. So was Janelle. So was everyone. Maya lowered her shirt, turned back to face them, and for the first time in 8 weeks, she smiled. Not because she had one, but because she had proven what her father always knew. She belonged. After the ceremony, families flooded the field. Maya stood alone for a moment, watching others embrace loved ones. Then she felt a hand on her shoulder. It was Commander Steele. Your father would be proud. Maya's voice was steady despite the emotion. I hope so. Steele nodded. I know so. She handed Maya a small, worn notebook. He gave this to me before his last deployment. Asked me to give it to you if anything happened. I've been holding on to it, waiting for the right moment. Maya opened it. Inside were pages of her father's handwriting. Letters to her. Advice. Stories. Love. She looked up, her eyes wet. Thank you, ma'am. Steele stepped back, saluted one more time, and walked away. Maya stood there, the notebook pressed to her chest, surrounded by the noise of celebration, but feeling only the quiet presence of her father's words. She had made it, not despite the mockery, but through it. And now, she was ready for whatever came next.